Bamm Ericsen here with AFTERBUZZ TV for Baller Season 2, Episode 6, titled Saturdaze. A lot to talk about. DJ, drop it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I used to feel so devastated. At times I thought we'd never make it.
It's a little devastation going on tonight, I think.
And okay.
We'll
What's
get
up?
to it.
Bamm Ericsen here with AFTERBUZZ TV for Ballers. Season 2, Episode 6, titled Saturdaze. You can follow me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen.
Hello guys, Suzette here. You can follow me at Suzette Babb on Twitter and Instagram.
And I am Jill Munroe. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Stiletto Jill.
We're loud tonight, right?
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, we're ready.
Speaking of, what's the song called again?
Devastated.
Oh, it's great
Okay.
though.
What? Were you devastated on tonight's episode?
Yeah, we were just,
Slightly.
Jill and
There's
I were
a little
talking
devastation.
about. Yeah, go ahead.
Little sadness. You know, it's time to move along.
Yeah.
It's time to move things along. I am so sick of Ricky either go to the Holy Land and pray, Ricky, or sign someplace and figure out what you're going to do with your dad.
Okay.
Because, yeah, those are
Okay.
my first
Yeah,
thoughts.
I think so too. Here's the thing, HBO. We have 10 episodes, 30 minutes. It needs to move on a little faster. And okay, we haven't seen Vernon. And then we haven't seen Tracy. I know she was mentioned. I feel like the Andre characters had 10 minutes combined in six episodes.
He just pops up to be foreboding.
Yes, and then the same
Don't
thing
mess
with
with me.
Ricky.
Yeah.
We already know this is the third season where he's not sure. And then I'm kind of why have a new character? Why have Travis Mack? Like we already have our characters that we need to learn more about and have some development and have them move forward. Why even bring in someone else?
Okay, so these are all good points, and so now let's discuss let's discuss tonight's episode, and we can get a little more into that. So the first topic I want to discuss is Charles with Nick Kovac and Julie and Seifert. So Seifert was obviously testing
Yes.
Charles. You know, in this industry, any type of entertainment industry, you know, you get tested without even knowing that you're being tested. So Seifert told Charles that he needs to go and tell Kovac that he's getting cut. Now, mind you, let's backtrack. Colford is the one who took Charles's position. Then Charles went to Seifert and said, hey, you need to go small. So Seifert says, that's a good idea. So then he takes his advice, he gives him a job, and now he makes him fire Kovac,
His replacement.
his replacement. Charles couldn't do it. What are your thoughts on that situation?
Of course Charles couldn't do it because he's such a nice, caring guy. And then look at Julie took him, but
Which was weird. Like, why couldn't he drive himself?
Like the
I
big boy
just-
pants.
Because that shows that Julie always
Already
has
knew.
her husband's back.
Yeah.
Or maybe she knew that he wouldn't drive himself.
Or
I mean,
that he
could
couldn't
be
get
too.
through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing with Charles. Charles is a sweet guy. I think he knows his stuff, but he's going to have to toughen up in order to take this job. I was so upset that Nick had already called and found out. I thought that Charles was going to go back and handle his business like a man. I didn't think that we were going to have to see him, you know, come back to find out, nope, your job has already been handled. Is he even going to keep his job? Or are we going to be faced with
Is this gonna
another
backfire?
episode of Charles, what do I do now? I don't want to see that. That would be pretty disappointing.
But look, he came to his house. It was his daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have said, you know what? It's your daughter's day. Let's meet tomorrow. Like
I'm gonna
maybe,
take you for drinks later.
Right. Like, isn't there business hours? Like that probably was just a Saturday, Sunday, his daughter's birthday. Probably not the best time just to show up.
Yeah, not only should he have not shown up, but I'm going to assume that when you are going to fire someone, you don't show up to their house. You have some kind of meeting, or what you do is you notify the agent and let the agent know that you're done.
But that's Charles
But-
because he's kind and caring, but he's going to have to learn that this is a business.
It
You're
is.
going to have to, dress a little nicer. Don't just go in your, all of his
Your
t-shirts
suburban dad
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. Being dropped off by the wife. It's like, no, it's a business. He's going to have to step it up a little.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that was kind of interesting to me was I didn't understand if they had a prior because I could understand him going to the house like that if they had a prior relationship where they were close. Then it's almost disrespectful if you call the agent to let him know. If they were actually friends. But if they just kind of crossed paths a little bit for that period of time, I don't even think they were on the team at the same time, right? Or maybe just know. of each
No, they
other.
won't. But Charles has played. I think for a total of he played 12 years, and then he came back that 1 year. So he played a total of 13 seasons. So I do get that was his job to do that. But I think in the real world, your agent is the one that tells you when you've been cut. So that's could be a flaw with the writing, but whatever. But now going forward, Seifert said that this job is 24/7, 365 days for a total of 16 games. So he warned him right then and there and told him to do this. Charles was not able to do it. Now, should he have done it or should he not? That's, whatever. His personality is what it is. So if he couldn't handle it, then now his job can be potentially at stake. And then we'll see next week whether if he'll make the cut. But I don't think Charles is cut out for that specific part of the job. There are plenty other things that they can give him to make him be employed on the team.
I think, excuse me, I think that he wanted to show him the depth of what is involved with this job.
Yeah.
And that's why he started him out with something that he knew would be so the opposite of Charles, that would be hard for him to handle.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get a foothold on, the business, and guys get let go every day. Charles even said it. And if you can't get a foothold on being the centerpiece on that, then you're not going to be very successful in this role, because you have to give it to the guys straight, no chaser. And I think that's a big part of it.
And I get that. And so, like we said, he was being tested. So he failed miserably. So will he test him again so that he can build him up so that he can eventually take this position and be the stern person that he needs to be, or give him another position?
No, I think that he can be a stern person. We've seen him go to Larry multiple times saying, I want to know what's going on, what's with my contract. We've seen him do that. I just think that he has, you learn by doing. So now he's going to be on the other side. And he ended up speaking to Kovac like he would have spoken to himself. Like he said, don't give up. And he was very compassionate. And that's what these players, are just a human being, would want someone to act to them, with that kindness. So I think he'll get there.
Yeah.
I think he will.
One day. I mean, I think that he believes in him, and that you always need that kind of player liaison that is going to be able to, say, just like Charles did, I understand, I've been there, I've been through it. You saw I just went through it a couple weeks ago. If nobody understands what you're going through, I do. I think that is a key piece of it. Plus, he can see the field in a way that obviously Steve Berg couldn't, and, is contributing. So it's just going to be a little rough for him.
Speaking of rough, so now let's get into this Ricky Dennis situation. So there's two main things that I saw in tonight's episode. So Ricky still is on this thing where he will sign his contract whenever he gets ready to. And there's this whole thing about him going elsewhere to kind of find himself. He was in the pool, he was speaking Hebrew, and then you have these New Orleans, I don't want to call them
Friends
don't-
of the program.
New
Friends of
Orleans
somebody's
tourist
programs.
advisors.
I'm gonna keep it cute. I'm not gonna call them, I'm not gonna disrespect them, but they showed up to kind of influence him. One girl said that she can help him with real estate, while the other girl said she can help him find a faith type organization that would help him.
Why does his friend want him to go to New Orleans so badly if Buffalo was the bigger offer?
Because it's more of a Ricky Jarrett
Better
town.
for him.
Yes,
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with that. I think as we see, Ricky can get locked in on something and distracted wholly,
Yeah.
So I think that he needs a city that is going to have a multiple. I know that that can be a distraction in of his own, but I think that the multiple things might keep him busy and help keep him focused because he seems to thrive better almost if there's a circus happening around him.
Yeah.
And then he can lock in because if it's just calm and he just can kind of make his decision, it seems to confuse him.
How serious should we take this, him trying to find himself with, at first he was speaking Hebrew, he was meditating, and then as soon as the two lady friends came, he lost focus.
I mean, I think that he wants to go to New Orleans. Well, obviously, he wants to stay in Miami, but that's not an option for him. So I think that he wants to go to New Orleans, but, we've talked about it. I don't know if it's, fear, trying to get Bella back, whatever. I'm concerned that he's going to get hurt before the season even starts between him and his dad, because this keeps getting physical all the time. And it's like...
And did you have some?
Well, I thought that we would end up literally seeing like opening credits and it's his feet getting off a plane. Like I thought he would just go by himself. You don't have to learn the language to go anywhere nowadays. You can just go, especially if you're just gonna meditate or I don't know what's there,
So-
meet some monks or just get that spirit over your body to make a decision. I don't know what his problem is. You know how I feel about it. I'm over it.
So is he prolonging? Is this a fear?
I kind of feel like he maybe doesn't even want to play anymore, as crazy as that sounds. And he doesn't want to make any decisions and he wants to find himself. Like literally just figure out what does he want.
Good point. But what I was asking is when you said that you can literally travel anywhere without having to know the language, if he really wanted to just go,
He would go, but
he would
something
go.
is holding him back.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why though.
He doesn't want to leave Miami. He
Doesn't
the
want to be
love,
alone. I still
where's the
think
lo-
that too.
See, here's the thing I feel about not wanting to be alone. We've seen him alone a lot this season, actually, just like in his moments by himself. Even when he came downstairs for breakfast when Dennis and what's his entourage?
TTD or something.
Yeah, they were talking. He's alone. Ricky's been alone a lot, so I don't even know. We haven't even really seen him with any ladies. Like we've seen him with ladies, but no one like.
We need
really
to see
constant.
him and his father actually have a discussion, or like we've talked about, have the mother come in. We can't keep having. Weren't they physical and fighting one of the last episodes? Then his dad was gone for an episode. Then he pops up and they're fighting.
Yeah, it was
Has
a
to be
shove.
something more than
It was a
just-
shove. Well, so now let's get to this. So, Ricky and his dad, Dennis. So they were at the very beginning of their storyline this episode. They were dissing him. What's his big guy's name?
TTD or
So
something like that.
TT and his dad Dennis were dissing the hell out of New Orleans, saying that this is not where you need to be. There's a black quarterback on there who's like, you're not going to mesh. Now,
Well, his dad's about the money though too.
his dad is about the money, but I do think that he might make a valid point. It's just not getting across clear because he's a jerk.
I mean, he keeps talking about money, but the interesting thing that we learned last episode from Bella was that Ricky has been done very, very well as far as his money.
Yeah.
Even though it appears that he is reckless or whatever, if what Bella says is true, he's been very smart with his finances. So the money isn't as big of an attraction for him, obviously. It is because there's an ego attached to it and there's a status that comes with, more money. But the money doesn't really seem to be the driving factor with Ricky because he's not running around asking Buffalo where's the love or wanting them to have a parade or anything like that.
Well,
Right.
he already said that he didn't care about the money. It wasn't about the money.
And I don't think the dad cares about the money. I think in the very beginning when he says you're worth 33, so you need 30 million for 3 years. So he's had that offer across the board. So I don't think the money is the issue with Dennis, his dad, anymore. I, in a weird way, feel like Dennis is looking out for his best interest as far as you will mesh well with Buffalo because blah, 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 blah. I think now he's using his experience, his expertise as a former football player to say, no, do not go to New Orleans because you won't mess well with this quarterback. So there's a part of me that feels like he's making sense.
He's making sense, but it's just his approach.
Well,
Yes,
and Ricky doesn't
yeah.
want to hear it
And
because
Ricky
he doesn't want
yeah.
his dad to be right.
Yes.
until they can mend
But
whatever
can we
issues
get
they
to
have.
that?
Yes,
I mean,
and
it's
so that's
just
the next point.
weird,
So now
yeah.
let's go. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just weird because we keep getting these flashes of we know they don't get along. We know his dad wasn't really there, but they keep dancing around the issues.
And why
let's-
so physical?
Okay, so well, let's get to the bigger issue. So while he's with the New Orleans conversationist ladies who are helping him go to New Orleans, in the midst of all that, Jason gets a text message saying that something happened. We later find out Jason goes to the house and calls Ricky, and we find out that his dad tweeted, and I wrote down the exact tweet. Hold on one second.
He said that Ricky.
So the
something-
tweet.
yeah.
So it says Dennis Jarrett.
The real Dennis Jarrett.
Right. To hell with New Orleans. My boy at Ricky Garrett got a better offer from Buffalo.
That's so gross. My blood would just be boiling that he would do that.
But you know what? How many times have we seen parents butt in our affairs?
Mine has totally.
And there has been some parents who actually will get on Twitter
Yeah.
and defend their. So was he wrong for tweeting?
Yes.
Here's the thing. I don't, this comes up all the time. I don't feel that he's wrong for tweeting, but I feel that he's wrong for putting the information that Buffalo countered with a higher offer. That's his agent's job to leak that. If they hadn't put that out there might have been a reason. Maybe they're trying to get some more money from New Orleans. I know that that's not where he wants to go, but I feel like, too, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So he wanted to stir the ship or, push Ricky's hand, but it's just like the methods and the means.
He's trying to meddle in his son's life way too much, but Ricky's letting him stay around and do so. He leaves, he comes back. He leaves, he comes back. So he kind of is just to blame if he's going to tell his dad all this information and want his dad to have some type of feeling to kind of give him his opinion. But that's messed up. You can't. That's not his job. You're a parent. You are not the football player. You're not the coach, not the agent. And that's what he's trying to be, because I think he misses playing and he misses having that life. So he wants his son to be looked at as the top.
I'm going to disagree, but just for the sake of disagreeing, because I agree.
I love
but
when
I'm
you
gonna
do
I'm gonna disagree. Okay, so let's take for instance Beyonce's dad. How now lately he's been doing interviews. He slipped up and revealed that Beyonce was born the same year as Usher and Pink in 1979. Like when a parent, and Beyonce is supposed to be born in 82. So there comes a point in time when a parent gets to be a certain age, they're going to say whatever the fuck they want to say.
They're just gonna
and
put
they
it
don't
all
give
out
a
there.
damn what you think, because they're old and they deserve the right to say whatever they want to say, because I'm a parent, I'm old, and I'm going to say what the hell I want to say, and you will deal with it. That's what he thinks. Now, mind you, he hasn't been in Ricky's life all this time, and he hasn't put in the work and sacrificed what Matthew has done for Beyonce. But
And Beyonce's going to be okay if she's really 55 years old. We're going to say, oh, you look good.
But the point is, he feels like
I can do whatever
I'm gonna do what
want.
the hell you gonna do. What you gonna do to me?
I just want him to calm down.
And you see
Yeah,
when,
because he thinks he's helping and he's hurting the situation.
and you see that even when Ricky tried to buck up to him, like he may be an old dude, but like
He's a big dude.
he's a big dude, and when Ricky tried to fight him, he fought him back. And one of the things that he says was when they were fighting, he yells in, "Dennis, what the F where the F you at?" He says, what's so difficult in saying dad?
I have that
I'm
too.
30, school is out, you missed it.
I mean, I agree with Ricky on that. Like, maybe we might have to evolve to that point. It seems like Ricky, we don't know how old Ricky was when they came back together. I mean, I would think, from the
29?
scrapbooks and stuff. Yeah, it was like after college, after he had already kind of made it a little bit. Was it spurned from that interview?
Yeah,
Leslie?
it was from, yeah.
So he's just coming back around. I mean,
These are two alpha males who will not succumb to lowering their alpha
Right.
male ego. So
it's not going to work.
this is not going to work at all.
That's
This
what I
is
was going to
yeah.
say. Like, it's just the cycle of it.
We
Yeah.
need the mom. We need the mom to settle it. We
Yeah.
need the mom to kind of bridge the gap so that we can figure out what happened in between and
They're both hot.
Maybe
Yeah.
they'll, bond together to be mad at the mom. I don't know.
And so we're in episode 6. By episode 8, he'll be back again. They will be in the kitchen. They'll have like this is just one cycle that that I think we all agree is just going to continue to go. But in the tweets, I did notice that below, Ricky,
Vernon was turning up.
Vernon sent out a tweet saying the
I missed
following.
it.
Vernon sends this tweet out saying, tonight's the turn up party at my house. So we didn't see him, but
yeah,
we didn't see him, but Vernon is having a party. So Vernon is obviously coping with his injury by partying.
And
Vernon, that's so
sweating.
unlike you.
But I mean, he has a lot of
He has
free
a- yeah.
time,
Oh, yeah.
and what better use of Twitter than to, get new women?
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that because Vernon and Fat Reg was not in this episode, but he was there in spirit through tweets. So now Joe goes to this party that he's invited through Anna, and it's Andre's. And Andre, we all obviously knew that Andre had some kind of agenda, and so he offers him a job to come join his team, making $500,000 a year, versus the $350,000 base salary he makes at ASM. Well, damn, $350,000.
$150,000 a year raise.
And so he respectfully declines, and
I want to know what he saw. I mean, first of all, who goes into someone's home office thinking that someone like Andre wouldn't have cameras everywhere to
Or that he's
rifle
just
through
going
their
to have
desk?
anything just sitting there, like
That was so
some type
bizarre
of
to me.
evidence.
But what did he find? He came across something like, I'm so sick of the Blues Clues and the
Yeah.
mystery with what's in the envelope, what's on the desk. Like,
But
tell
you-
us.
but
What's
you-
the bad deal?
But you also have to remember that Andre said, Andre made a comment that he said something.
About that he has a,
NFL, the NFL.
he
they're
said-
checking his finances, Spencer's.
But before that, he said something regarding that my job is getting information on people. So with that being said, that probably was a setup. Andre probably had his MacBook open with something specific that he wanted him to see. But
And Joe took the bait.
But have you ever been to a big house here in LA in a Hollywood party, and you start walking around and you look at stuff in the foyer and stuff, and then when you go in the bathroom, how the bathroom is all like when you're in
You
a big
look at stuff, but
that's
you
my
don't
point.
look at the computer, though. That's
don't
a little
go into the
different. You don't
office and
go
look for
on the
business
desk.
stuff.
You don't
right.
rifle through your papers like that. That's a little rude.
But you think it's rude, but some people may actually do that, and so if you were maybe
That's
going,
why there's cameras.
It is, but if you're passing through to go to the restroom in one of the rooms and you see something, there 9 out of 10 times someone's going to look and be nosy. That's
No,
why.
not unless they're not home.
No, they're probably gonna
no.
look and be nosy. But
Yeah,
I
no.
just feel like Andre is setting. He's right now the major puppeteer because obviously he tipped off the NFLPA
Yeah.
something about that deal. We keep referencing this deal and how much money Spencer lost and how it was so terrible. And last week you mentioned that maybe it was something adverse for Andre too, so he would want to keep it quiet. But clearly, whatever it is, his hands are clean in that.
No. I don't think that they're clean.
No.
I don't think they're
Well,
clean
not
at
literally
all.
clean, but he's
No, he's
managed-
covered it up, I think, is
Yeah.
probably what's happened.
He's covered up, or he has.
because-
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what's frustrating. Andre was the financial advisor to Spencer. So he was in charge of his money. So maybe Spencer came to him, I have a deal. I don't think that's what happened. I think Andre came to him or has come to players. I have this great deal. It looks awesome. Just sign it. Just sign right here. It's all good. I think Andre messed it up and screwed Spencer. He had to play another year. And it's Andre that's trying to pull Joe away. He's trying to pull everyone that is good and that has Spencer's back so that Spencer now will be by himself. I think that's what it is.
I agree, and I totally believe that Andre is the puppet between whatever the deal that he made, but it came back on Spencer because he was the famous football player,
Yeah.
and so he had to take the fall.
It's beyond me though how they are looking at Spencer and not his financial team to at that time. Like,
Yeah.
it's really, at some point, I guess we'll learn what this big deal is. You know, it's interesting. We saw a little tease where Spencer was like, it's not about the pills. And it's like, okay, the pills are going back secondary now. Like, I'm so confused in some of these things.
But one thing that I will say, if they don't get to the point of whatever the hell
Yes.
this big secret is, y'all better hurry up because I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yes.
It's moving way too slow.
Yeah,
This
I-
is the second season. It doesn't matter that it's a comedy. When you love TV, you want to get to know characters. I still feel like I don't really know everyone, or when they choose to do things, why they choose to. And you should. It's the second season. It's HBO. We should have a better understanding.
Like, we don't really understand Joe. We don't, you know, I think that we're starting to understand Ricky, but obviously we have this big hole in the middle. We understand Charles really well. We even understand Vernon to a degree. We just don't know much about him
Yeah.
outside of it. It's just,
And Andre's a tease. You're bringing
Yeah.
in someone that's going to be a nemesis. That's going to now, heads are going to butt. But it's like, why is it taking so long? Because I really think what's going to end up happening is we're going to find out that Andre maybe has been so dirty, he's screwed with everyone's money. So he's trying to cover up the trails before they look into Spencer's finances and find out, you know what, this actually was Andre's fault.
Yeah. I also think that was actually a dumb move for Andre to offer Joe $500,000 because, like I said, and an apology, I accused Joe of being super old, and so and the character's the real actor's name is Rob Corddry, who we are trying to potentially get here soon. So, but he's only 42. So my apologies because I thought he was much older than that. But I say all that to say, for someone who's been in a business for as long, for you to think that you're gonna just offer someone $500,000, like with you offering him $500,000, then you own him. He won't have the luxury to be able to do what he does, and like you're not. He's not just gonna go work for Andre, get the $500,000, and then things will just be able to go his way. He has to play by a whole new set of rules. And Joe likes to party, he likes to turn up, he's happy with his life. So I think that if that was maybe a 22-year-old or 32-year-old,
Yeah.
that would be one thing. But a 42-year-old man, I thought that was a very immature move on him.
I also don't think that it's realistic. I think that when two people, or when a company is just starting up, which I'm saying with Joe and Spencer, they're just kind of getting things off the ground. They
Yeah.
don't have their license yet.
Yeah.
It's not realistic that someone's gonna ever just jump ship. Like, you're in it to get going.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're in something for 5 or 10 years and it's like, we've had some bad dealings, I'm ready to move on. Now I'm gonna go and work for another company. I don't think that it's realistic.
Yeah.
I think Andre is just trying to cause a wedge,
Wedge,
and
yeah.
just turmoil on that side. I don't think that he's even really serious about the offer or anything. I think he just wants to, cause some trouble.
And speaking of that, so he mentioned, your partner lost a lot of money a while back. If Spence doesn't trust you to tell you about his past, how can you trust the future? So that obviously got in Joe's head. And so when we see what happens for next week, the two of them are already at odds. So job well done, Andre.
Yeah, he did it no matter what.
And so the last thing, let's discuss Jason, Spencer, Mark, and Travis. So Mark, who is this, who's a commentator for Sports Analysis, is basically dogging out Travis because he didn't go to the combine. And he mentions that when you don't go to the combine, that means there's a couple of things. You probably can't bench a lot, so that means you're not strong and you don't have endurance. And second of all, everyone runs a 40. And so everybody has a certain mark. When you're a receiver, corner, you have to run under 4.4. Now you have big guys now who can run. What did he run? He ran a 4.58. That's hella fast for somebody who is big as Travis. So when you don't show up to a combine, when you are a top contender to make it to the league, it's a red flag. And so Mark said what he had to say, and obviously Travis didn't want to do that. And so Spencer and Jason put together this fishing trip. And I don't want to tell it, but what's your thoughts on Travis's attitude?
I feel like you right now when Bamm says, I don't have a feeling.
So who cares?
I kind of feel that. I'm kind of more invested in the other players, so I kind of feel like I'm not seeing what's going on in their life. So this, and then of course it's just like anything. Oh no, he's amazing. Vernon's amazing. Oh, Travis Mack's amazing. Ricky's amazing. It's like, okay, so now everything's fine. He's going to be an all-star. We can't believe it.
And the money will come in. I mean, I think that his character is essential because we know that Joe and Spence need new business and blah, blah, blah. They have to bring this money in order to keep the current job that they have, let alone worry about what's happening with Andre. So I guess that's sort of why he's there. And I guess he's like a Johnny Manziel type. But I'm just like, why? Why are you an idiot? Like, you have to know that none of this stuff is going to add up in your favor. And I'm just burnt out with him.
No, but
we're already burnt out.
yeah,
Like episode 2 with him.
He's an idiot because this is the reality. You have people who they're the hot shit.
Yeah.
They're the hot shit in their town. And then once you look at he played the year Reggie Bush played at the Rose Bowl, and the guy from who wound up playing for the Texans. What was that guy? He was a top quarterback.
Matt Leinart?
No, black. What's his name? And now he's broke. With the tattoos on his chest.
Vince
Young.
Vince Young, yeah.
Okay, take Vince Young. He was the man in college.
Yeah.
He goes to the Texans, and what happens? Nothing. So I think they're trying to show that, a lot of times these athletes come in with chips on their shoulders, and you wake up really, really quick. And so I think that's what they're getting at.
But in his defense, he's stepped it up every time. It was very quick that him and Spencer got in a disagreement, and then he was in the parking lot and kind of apologized. He ran in the sand for them. He was gonna jump in the water, and there still is something about him where it's like he was like kind of born in the South and kind of with all of his cousins and he's kind of now in Miami and glitz and glamour, and he is trying. He's at least showing up. I will give him that.
Yeah, he's showing up, but they're.
Well, I'm trying to
The
give
time
something.
frame is so confusing, though, because this is my only thing. We're talking about combine. We're talking about free agency. Those are two different parts of the year. I know that ballers know that, but like combine stuff, that's like April before the draft. Free agency it's like May, June, July. Like, it's just very weird to me, the time frame. Like, where are we at in the summer?
Yeah.
I know that's a minor detail, but I need them to pick it up.
No, but you got it.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say this season there's not a lot of like partying women, and there's not like the kind of, I felt like last season was a little more Entourage feel. Like it was kind of like ooh, and this season we're not.
I mean, I'm okay with that because you have to get to the business of
agreed,
football, and like you
just
got to
there's, like,
kind of
none.
strip away from it. It has kind of been like, either or, but there's a lot to discuss. I feel like they could do it a little faster.
Yeah.
And then,
Now, something else that was mentioned is prior to this meeting on the fishing trip, Jason and Spencer were talking, and Jason knows that Spencer is popping the pills.
I mean, something like that is hard to keep under wraps. And I'm sure Jason, as an agent, probably sees a lot of that type of behavior. So maybe he picked up the signs, or, that's going to be interesting. Once again, we know Spencer's pill use is going to figure heavily into something. We just don't know what yet, and it has to be something soon. But I can see Jason not being too shocked by it just because he's an agent. He's probably seen everything. He knows the physical toll that athletes go through. And even with Spencer, even if they think that Spencer is, borderline addict, I don't think the panic button is going to be hit yet because he seems to have it under control.
And another question is, so Spencer and what's her name? So
Tracy?
So they are in a relationship? Because
Well, he's never had one in 6 months apparently.
But
the longest
but
one.
when they were discussing, Jason said they were talking about the relationship, and although he said that you never been in a relationship more than 6 months, but the feel that I got, Spencer was claiming Tracy as his girlfriend.
Right. I got that feeling too. Maybe, because she's leaving, it's easier to claim her now.
Right, because long distance is easier because you don't have to physically see them and show up for them.
I mean, you know, the kind of feeling that has always been is that Spencer is really secretly, maybe begrudgingly, really into Tracy, but for whatever reason, whether she's trying to get his business together or he's relationship shy, isn't really producing that. But I kind of just feel like she's gonna fade because she's not really important to me, and she's not really important to me, and for Spencer because. I mean, yeah, she's popped up as sort of a source, but she doesn't really seem to do anything for Spencer as far as a relationship wise. Like, why does he need to be with her other than.
Well, it was nice because the more they were together, the more we got to know him, you know? And so now, again, it's just holes. It's like, why wouldn't they? It's like one other phone call conversation, or even with the pills, why don't we see him popping it more, kind of feeling dizzy or getting cold sweats? Like, I just need to see some of that. It's like, okay, do you have an addiction or is everything fine? Like, you need a new hip. Why
You're
are
just
you?
chewing them like
Everything's
Mentos, you're
cool
good.
and you're
Yeah.
just fishing. Everything's fine. Like, break it in. And I liked when Tracy was there. I felt like we got to know him a little softer side. She's talking about their past. And it's just a phone call or a text. We see him in the car, so why not get her frustrated or maybe feel like he's popping pills, or maybe she could.
I feel like they don't
that.
really know what to do with them
Yeah, I think so
together.
too.
Yeah.
Now there's lots of characters. We have 30 minutes. It's like,
Very true. But we shall see. I don't have anything else, so if there's nothing else, let's go to predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I'm kind of sure. I think that I'm going to go out on a limb. Ricky's going to sign with a team next episode.
okay.
He's going to sign with a team next episode. That's my prediction.
I think he's going to wake up with a black eye.
From Dennis?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they were still on the floor.
They were
There
still
was
on the
like
floor,
broken
yeah.
glass. Like,
And then the last thing that was mentioned is that Dad said something like, "You will learn to respect me." So that means
This is how he's gonna teach
that
him?
means Dennis was on top at that point because
right.
he was probably
founded.
he was landing the punches if he had the nerve to say that.
Oh, see, so then Ricky may not play this season due to injury. I'm telling you, his arm.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen only because it's already happening to Vernon. Like, we need to see maybe he signs with a team and halfway through he realizes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know.
I'm with you, Suzette. I don't think he's going to play this season.
By choice, because he wants to find
Yeah,
himself.
by
That's what it-
choice. I don't think he's going to play. And then also with this Travis character, we're going to see him for the rest of the season. I believe. And the fact that he ran a 4.58 on sand,
Pretty good.
means that he's quick as shit. And so
So he'll be
there's-
their hot star.
So his
Yeah.
stuff is all mental.
Yeah.
Just like getting through.
Yeah, and he needed to have a drink before he ran the
Absolutely.
40. So
Johnny Manziel shades.
and so maybe that will be a bond between he and Spencer.
Spencer has his pills.
So yeah, I don't really have any predictions, but although I wasn't completely satisfied with the episode, we're always completely satisfied recapping the show and sharing our thoughts on the episode and so forth. And so we'll be back. We'll be back next week, and we know it's gonna get better, so it's all good. So
3 episodes left.
yeah. So now let's let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
I am Jill Munroe. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Insta Stories at Stiletto Jill.
You be on that a lot.
You're
I'm
everything.
trying.
I
I'm
love it.
trying to master the social media thing so I can touch people and we can connect.
Love it. You can find me at Suzette Babb on everything that Jill said.
Yeah, and you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. So thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Baller Season 2, Episode 6, Summer Saturdaze. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
See you
you
later.
later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.